Day YouTube. This is What a Doozy 1929 here, and welcome. First of all, welcome to my garage, my personal garage. This is my main garage where all my cars are in. And first of all, let me get in first person so we can get that mouth moving guy off. This is a quick video. This is gonna be this is relatively quick, so I don't even know how long it'll be. But we're not gonna be talking about just one car. We're gonna be talking about half the cars that are in my possession right now. And as you can see, there's a lot. I have them sectioned off. These are the cars that I just got into this update, and these are the vehicles that I personally own that I had for a long time. So I'm here to give you some GTA tips, some car tips on GTA, because I'm actually beginning to get sick and tired of seeing a lot of people in just super and sports cars. Now, don't get me wrong, if you like that kind of stuff, that's you. But RockStar offers a whole barrage of other cars versus just supercars and sports cars. Don't get me wrong, they're fast, they're cool and all, but it's, you know, there's always time to just slow down and just have a drive in one of your coolest cars that you got, the cars that probably basically nobody's ever seen in everybody's garage. We're in an age in today's life, not just not just GTA, where everybody's just fast moving. And Grand Theft Auto is no exception. Everything is fast moving. Everybody wants things done quicker. Everybody wants to get there quicker from point A to point B. That's why we got jets and we got these new supercars. We got a lot of supercars in this game. And there's a lot of other cars that are not supercars that are just really cool. And these are just going to be the first 5 that I have, because there's a whole lot of other cool cars on here. I just decided I don't want to do all this, so I'm just going to do the cars that I got on here. So we're going to basically talk about just basic cars that you see, or basic cars that you see on the road, and basic cars that you will find online that you could purchase that basically you wouldn't usually see in somebody's garage. So for starters, we're going to talk about this car. This is my pride and joy. This is the Albany Roosevelt. The Albany Roosevelt was introduced in the Valentine's Day Massacre update a few years ago, and it was an awesome car. The car basically did a bang-up job of being such a cool car. And this car was basically at one point the rarest car in the game, not because you just couldn't find it on the street. It's just that right around when March came along, RockStar took the Roosevelt off the website to be purchasable. And these cars were very, very rare because people sold them because they claimed that it was too slow. Literally, I went into a survey and asked a whole bunch of people, did a survey, said, how many of y'all have ever owned the Roosevelt? And almost everyone in there said they owned the Roosevelt. How many of y'all still have them? 9 times out of 10, I will find at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 people that still have their Roosevelts. So the Roosevelt was at a point when it was just very sought after. It was very rare, and it was due to the fact that it was just slow. To them, it was. But this car is not all about going fast. It's about just cruising, going around in style. This car is all about looks. It's all about style. It's not always about getting there really quick. This thing 0 to 60 time is around 8 seconds. I timed it. It was literally 8 point something seconds. It's not that fast. Its top speed is way below the average. I would say it's like 120 maybe. But this is a very old car. It's not going to get very fast. So it's all about style this car has got. So people, you got to appreciate some of these cars on here that are not supercars. Back in the day, this was a supercar because it went very quickly. Like I said, the top speed of this car was 120 miles an hour, and the 20s to get a car above 60 miles an hour, astronomically fast. But that's a topic for another later day episode. But yeah, that's the Roosevelt. This is my next car, the Z-Type. The Z-Type is one of probably the third oldest car in the game, and it's been in Grand Theft Auto ever since Grand Theft Auto 2, I think. And it's a cool car. It's really quick. It's the thickest on the verge of being the fastest sports classic in the game. And I would like to say that this car is just straight out awesome. Lots of people have them, not a lot, I'll say half of the people who play Grand Theft Auto have a Z-Type, but this car is just sought after too because not a lot of people would want this in their garage because they claim it was too slow or just doesn't fit their style. And another factor I hate about when it comes to having these particular types of classic cars like the Roosevelt and the Z-Type, people would just put them in wild colors like lime green and yellow, canary yellow, and fire red. I mean, yes, it's nice colors, but those are just two wild colors. These cars look good in dark colors, to be honest with you. They look great in much darker base colors, gloss colors, not metallic colors, but just flat gloss colors. And these cars really pop. I didn't do much to this Roosevelt. There's also a car called the Roosevelt Valor, and it has way more better customizations to it. But like I said, even if you did have the Valor, I had my Valor and I had to sell it for but for money reasons on here, and I've made it at least decent and way better looking than when I have it on here. I have custom lowrider tires on there because if I took those and put the stock tires on there, it would have just been straight plain black tires. I want this car to look period correct. What I mean by period correct, I mean I want this car to look like it came from the 1920s or 1930s. So if you like that, just keep them in neutral colors. Don't give them these wild colors. That's the same thing with the Z-Type. I didn't want to give it some lowrider tires because these tires look awesome on it. This car looks good black. It's like a Model T Ford. It looks great black. Like a Buick Grand National. We changed the color of these cars. They're a different color. I don't blame you. Color. Something that's decent that don't make the car look so atrocious. Because trust me, there's lots of people who will paint these cars in so many ugly colors. It just makes it look like it doesn't need to be in my garage. So the Z-Type and the Roosevelt we already just went by. This is a new addition to my car garage. It's the Buccaneer. I'm about to change this car. It's not going to be the way it looks like, so we're going to skip this car because I'm about to turn this into a lowrider. And probably going to do that in a later episode when I get the money. So we're going to skip this. This is our second to last car. This is the Lampadati Pagal. This car is, I'll say it's not in everybody's garage. This car is, again, sought after. You can buy it on Los Santos, the Super San Andreas Autos for $400,000, which is overpriced. That's the problem with the Pagal. It's overpriced. 400 grand for this car is not worth it. But if you are a car nut and you want this car, hell, get this car. It's an awesome car. What people don't realize is they just think it's just real ugly. And yes, it is the ugliest car in the game probably. But I think it's cool looking. Like I said, the problem with it is just looks ugly and it's too expensive. But what's under the hood of this car is just strictly power. This thing has a turbocharged V6. I don't know what that means to y'all. If y'all know what that means to y'all, that means this car has a lot of power. The downside is it's front wheel drive. If it was all or rear wheel drive, then yes, this car would be a dream. But front wheel drive, it's, I'll say decent, but the handling is so terrible. So you gotta be careful when you're driving this car. But other than that, this car is on the list of one of the second most fastest sports classics in the game. This is on the list of the fastest sports classics in the game. This thing can keep up with a lot of cars in here. So the Pagal, it needs to be loved. There's lots of customizations for this thing. Now, it can go wild, it can go contemporary. I decided to keep it contemporary. I've had it in so many wild configurations, not engine choices, but just lots of wild colors. I had it in a yellow and black color. I called it the B. I had it in a black and silver color combination. It's a nice car. These cars are nice and they need to be treated with care. They need to be customized right. This video is not all about just saying which cars are just which is better, which is which. No, this car is awesome just by giving it a decent customization. Not a lot of people in this game know how to customize cars, and that's sad because these cars, when they're customized right, they are literally works of art. And that is where we get to our last car. This is I would say this is my favorite car in the whole world now. This is my favorite car in the garage right now. This is the Class A Tornado Custom. Now, I've had my Tornado for a long time, and I decided, let's see what this thing looked like in a custom mode, because I just wanted to see what it was. And the Tornado, it's an average car. You find them everywhere in the streets. You can find them anywhere around San Andreas. You can find them in Sandy Shores. You can find them in the hood. You can find them anywhere. They're everywhere. I would say the problem with the Tornado is the interior was not period correct. The interior looked like it was from the 60s, looked like from the 70s and 80s. It did not match the overall look of the whole car, which is based off the 1950s. So the whole car, of course, looks awesome. Because if you look at a Tornado right now, if you don't know, if you were new to Grand Theft Auto and you don't know what the Tornadoes look like, I'll show you what it looks like. Because the Tornado, it's awesome. It's, to me, a cool car. This is what it looks like customized now. This is what it looks like in its stock form. It's an average 50s car, nothing too awesome about it because it's just an average everyday car. Now, I would say the only thing it has above is that it's a 50s car based off an iconic 50s car. So, it doesn't have white walls and everything, but there's also a convertible one, and this is the convertible one. The convertibles, the stock ones on here, they have a black ragtop roof. So what I did with every Tornado I've owned was always painted it that classic 50s red and that white ragtop roof, and gave it a nice overall appeal to its looks. And I get a lot of compliments about this car. Every time I've driven this car, I get a lot of compliments. And the overall reason why is because they're not used to seeing this car to where it is at this state right now. I have this car looking like a true 1950s cruiser. The seats and everything are period correct. The reason I took it to Benny's to get it, first of all, I wanted to see what it looked like, but at the same time, I wanted to see what else they can have to offer for this car. Now, RockStar made it possible for us to customize the Tornado in Benny's garage. And my friends keep telling me, don't do it, it's not worth it, it's not doing it, it still looks like the same Tornado. But I didn't care. So what I did was I did turn into a custom Tornado. It has hydraulics, it has speakers, but I didn't want to give it a wild look. People on here, like I said, don't know how to customize cars. They don't. So I gave this car what it deserves. It's a car that looks like it came out of 1955. This car is probably, if I was to take this car and drive it around Los Santos right now, I would get a lot of customization. I would get a lot of compliments. If I was to take it to a car meet in this game, I guarantee you this car will win first place, because not a lot of people on here will customize a Tornado to look like this. Tornadoes are just that one car that no one wants. It's an everyday car. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it to have it in their garage. There's nothing I can do with it. If I took it to Benny's, it's just going to still look like the same everyday car I'll find on the street. Yes, that's true. You just got to know what you're doing, though. And surprisingly, I knew what I was doing. And to show you what this car really looks like in its stance and what it is, I'm just hoping it's not raining outside. Okay, nice. Just looking how this car looks like on the outside, this car really does look like a cool 50s ride. So I'm going to park right here, and I'm basically going to show you what I have done to this car, because I really like this car. I love it. It's an awesome car, and I'm not going to get rid of it. This is too good of a car for me to get rid of. I thought of getting rid of it, but until I saw how this car looks and how its stance is and how I get the compliments and how nobody have a car like this customized to this point. Because it's all about going all out when it comes to customizing a car in Grand Theft Auto. But to have a car to get to this point, it's hard to come by. So, first of all, I'm going to open up everything so I can show you basically what I've done to this thing. I've customized the V8. The V8 has a different block on it, but like I said, it's red. See, when you do that to the engine block, then you can basically change the color of the the heads on it, but since it's all mostly red, I decided to keep it like that. The tires, they're just straight classic lowrider tires with the white walls, and they're red, period correct, like you'll see in 1955. Now, I'll say the only thing I hate is that the fact that the dashboard is not period correct, because a 50s car will have that classic V speedometer. Like, give you an example. If you go into the Voodoo or the Peyote, they have the period correct interior. They have the period correct dashboard and the speedometer. They have that classic V style speedometer, and this car doesn't have it. This car has still kind of like a 70s interior, but like I said, this is what the best I can do. Other than that, this car just straight looks cool with a touch of custom to it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't want to keep this car completely boring. This thing has professional hydraulics, it has some awesome speakers, and it's just a cool car. So remote, turn everything on, turn the radio on. With the speakers, you can listen to the radio much louder on the outside. And I don't listen to a lot of hip-hop on this game. I really don't, because I'm not a hip-hop person. I like listening to pop, so we're going to go to non-stop pop. Some good music, but they don't have nothing good playing. So I'm going to stick on to Los Santos Rock Radio, because I like rock music too. Anyway, this is just an awesome car. This is an example. These cars that I've talked about are just a few examples of cars that are not supercars. But if you just customize them right, they look like works of art. The Tornado is just an average everyday car you can find on the street. But if you customize it right, this car will stand out beyond all the cars on this game. This car will stand out to a supercar, to be honest with you. This thing to me looks better than a supercar. It's not faster than it, but it looks better than it. It's cool. Everything on here is period correct. And like I said again, if you're new, you don't know what period correct means. Period correct means it matches the year of the car. It matches. Everything matches. It flows. The interior, everything matches as a 50s ride. Now, I know I'm just getting off track with just talking straight about this car, but this car is just one of a few cars that you can just get off the street and turn into one of the most beautiful rides that you can ever come up with. And I would say I did a really good job turning this everyday car into a straight classic 50s ride. To be honest with you, if you saw what this car looked like before, you would thought that it was you wouldn't think it would be the same car. So other than that, let's close everything up and turn the radio off. This is what a Doozy 1929 here. I'm hoping these tips help you, and I'm hoping that me giving you all this advice will really give people to understand the cars on here, so you can, you know, get the feel and not just go strictly with super and sports cars. Super and sports cars, they're nice. They're really nice. But there's a lot of other cars that RockStar has to offer in this game. And the Tornado, the Pagol, the Sabre Turbo, well, all those other cars, they're not supercars, they're not sports cars, but they have little stuff, they have touches, they have just things that make these cars pop, that make them look way better than supercars. Now, they're not going to perform like supercars, but they look really cool. They're cool to have in your garage, and if you don't even want to take it out, just have it in there for show. Show your friends everything. And I ran into this car. While I'm at it, I know this is just out the blue. Compare this car to my Tornado. I want y'all to look at my Tornado and compare it to this Tornado. My Tornado looks way better than that. So basically, this is only a few examples of what you can do to this car. Look at the interior of that car, look at the interior of mine. If it wasn't a custom Tornado, the interior would look just like that, plain straight, looking like the 60s and the 70s. This interior in my car is straight period correct. It looks like a 50s ride. It is a 50s ride. This car is straight coolness and all over. As for the other cars, those are, again, just a handful of cars that you can find on this game that are not supercars, but you can do lots of cool stuff to them. I can take that Mini Cooper right there and turn it into a work of art. I can. I don't want to, though, because I hate that car. But this is what it does in 1929 here, signing off. And I hope my advice really helps these people out here to just turn away from the supercars and sports cars for a bit and just pay attention to these other cars that RockStar have put on these games. It's not all about scoring fast all the time. It's not all about spending millions of dollars on these cars. It's not all about getting there really quick. It's all about enjoying your car. It's all about making the car look the way it should be. It's all about taking care of it, not letting somebody screw it up all the dang time. Just make the car look awesome. Don't customize it so wildly, but if that's your choice, I can't change that person to do that. But if you want your cars to look as great as this one, then always go contemporary. Always make the car look the way it's supposed to be. And this interior just really stands out. This car stands out the road. It really does stands out to all the cars on here. So this is What a Doozy, signing off, having fun with my Tornado.